In the world of Florida drill, names aren't just names, they are statements. And no name carried more weight or more controversy than Julio Foolio. From the streets of Jacksonville's 6th block to the global stage, Foolio lived life that felt like a movie script. But the ending was what no one wanted to see. Charles Andrew Jones II, known to the world as Julio Foolio, lived a life that mirrored the gritty, high-stakes reality of the Jacksonville drill scene he helped pioneer. He was a central figure in a violent, decade-long gang war in Jacksonville, primarily associated with the gang's 6th block. Born on June 21, 1998 in Jacksonville, Florida, Jones grew up in the north side neighborhood of Moncrief, specifically an area known as 6th block. His childhood was shaped by the environment around him, one where neighborhood loyalties often dictated one's future. He began rapping in his teens, using music as a raw outlet for the realities of poverty and local conflict. In 2011, when Charles was only 13 years old, his father, also named Charles Andrew Jones, was murdered in a shooting in Jacksonville. This loss is frequently cited as a turning point that thrust him deeper into the street life for protection and belonging. In the 9th grade, while getting off the school bus, he was shot in the hip, as he mentioned in an interview. His mother, Sandricus Mays, was a constant presence in his life. While she supported his musical ambitions, she later revealed in interviews that she spent his entire childhood and adult life begging him to move away from the violence. She was even caught in the crossfire herself at one point, being shot 8 times in an incident intended for her son. To understand Julio Foolio's life, you have to understand his rivalry with Jungle Ace. This wasn't just a rap beef. It was a years-long conflict that turned the city of Jacksonville into a flashpoint for what many call the deadliest era of modern hip-hop. The war primarily pitted Foolio's crew, 6th Block, part of a larger collective known as KTA, against Jungle Ace's group, ATK, short for Ace's Top Killers, or Access to Kill. On June 5, 2018, Jungle Ace was celebrating a friend's birthday at a Japanese steakhouse. As they left, their car was ambushed. 3 people died, including Ace's brother, Trevon Bullard. Ace was the sole survivor despite being shot 8 times. By the time Charles turned 20, he famously stated that he had already lost more than 10 close friends to gun violence. One of the most defining moments of his youth was the murder of his close associate, a 16-year-old named Bibby. Bibby was shot and killed at the Hilltop Village Apartments in Jacksonville on February 25, 2019. This event deeply scarred him and became the catalyst for some of his most aggressive and vengeful music, such as the song Bibby's Story. Hakeem Robinson, also known as Queso, pleaded guilty to second-degree murder for the 2019 killing of 16-year-old Adrian Lil Bibby Gaynor. During the court proceedings, it was revealed that Hakeem chased Bibby through the apartment complex and shot him at close range. Investigators recovered 45 shell casings from the scene. In the drill scene, music is used to claim points. Foolio began relentlessly mocking the victims of that shooting in his songs and social media posts, which cemented the blood feud. In 2020, Foolio was targeted in a shooting in his hometown of Jacksonville. While details were kept relatively quiet at the time, he survived the attack with minor injuries. He used the incident to bolster his street credibility, often mocking the shooters for missing in his subsequent social media posts. The beef reached a global audience in 2021 when the two sides released back-to-back songs that went viral for their shocking disrespect. Who I Smoke by Jungle Ace and Spinabenz famously sampled Vanessa Carlton's 1,000 Miles. The video featured the rappers at a golf course looking preppy while singing along to the upbeat pop tune. But the lyrics were a list of Foolio's dead friends, including Bibby and Tiki. It turned smoking on a name into a mainstream slang term, but in Jacksonville, it was a direct taunt to Foolio. Foolio responded weeks later with a remix of Fantasia's When I See You. The music video is legendary in the drill world for its boldness. Foolio went to a cemetery and posed with a large print of their funeral photo. He essentially laughed at their deaths, telling the camera how much he enjoyed visiting them. It is widely considered one of the most disrespectful songs in music history. These lyrics from both sides were essentially a scorecard for real bodies falling in the streets, which would eventually lead to more violence. In November of 2021, Foolio was shot at in a parking garage in Houston, Texas. He later claimed in interviews that he survived because he shot back in self-defense with his own registered firearm. He famously bragged on social media after the event, saying, "Y'all miss a whole 100 shots literally," further fueling the legend that he was untouchable. The October 2023 foot shooting in Jacksonville was the most serious injury he sustained prior to his death. Foolio was shot in the foot while driving in Jacksonville. The injury was severe, requiring multiple surgeries. He spent months in a medical boot and documented his recovery on Instagram. The shooters reportedly used a rifle, and Foolio later posted a video of the mangled foot, using the trauma as content for his music and brand. Julio Foolio's life was punctuated by several major shootings, earning him a reputation for being unkillable until the final fatal ambush in 2024. On June 23, 2024, the luck that had followed him ran out. In Tampa, to celebrate his 26th birthday, Foolio shared his location on social media throughout the night. Following a party at an Airbnb, he and his entourage moved to a home 2 suites near the University of South Florida. As he sat in his car in the early morning hours, 3 shooters emerged from the shadows and opened fire with rifles and handguns. Sean, Rashad, and Davion Murphy. Foolio was killed instantly. 3 others were injured. Foolio was shot in the heart, lungs, and aorta while trapped in his car in a hotel parking lot. He died at the scene. His rivals weren't just shooting from a distance, they had scouts, Alicia Andrews and Isaiah Chance, tracking his every move for hours across multiple nightclubs to ensure they didn't miss again. The killing was described by authorities as a calculated team attack, resulting from the ongoing gang rivalry between 6 Block and rival groups ATK and 1200. 5 people were eventually charged: Isaiah Chance, Alicia Andrews, Sean Gathright, Rashad Murphy, and Davion Murphy. The trial for 4 of the men is currently underway in Tampa. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty for the defendants if they are convicted of first-degree murder. Alicia Andrews, Chance's girlfriend, was previously found guilty of manslaughter for her role in helping the shooters track Foolio's movements. In the end, Julio Foolio lived his life like a high-stakes tactical shooter where there are no respawns. He was the architect of his own fame, using a brutal honesty that the world couldn't stop watching. But that same honesty was a beacon for the rivals he left behind. Charles Jones survived 3 different attempts on his life, leading many to believe he really was unkillable. But in the streets of Jacksonville, the score always catches up. His story is a reminder that in the world of drill, the music and the reality are one and the same. And sometimes, the final track is one you don't get to hear. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the life of Julio Foolio, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe.